This'll probably be fine.
Could pretend like he's out there holding the camera.
Let me just slow it down a little bit while I do that. There we are. Okay. Trying to keep that leaf from blocking the
Uh-oh.
hill.
evening, SRA Nation, and welcome to Season 12.
Today is going to be a new challenge, aside from being Sanford. We're racing on the surface of the sun, apparently.
Heading down towards the main start line.
Maximizing that track just behind. That's exactly what we were talking about. That one corner. So critical to your lap time. You have to send it. This is the apex curving there by a little bit.
Everybody's now bunched up, and you do not want that.
Rewind now at the end of Sector 1 in the spot you really don't want to, but the fight's not over.
Still there on the inside, and the McLaren's still not going to give the place up.
And we're off and away for SRA.
That is right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Sim Racing Alliance GT3 Team Series. We're looking forward to mounting some curbs here tonight at Zolder for round 5 of this 13th season of the GT3 Team Series. I'm your host, Philip Mueller. Thank you all for having me. Joining me in the booth, the man in the Mustang, it's Donovan Colton.
Yep, in the Mustang, unfortunately. But yeah, in the booth for tonight. Yeah, looking forward to some Zolder.
Also returning to the stream, I tried to adopt him last week, but the paperwork didn't go through. It's Mr. Mac Morgan. Welcome, sir.
That's right, Mac Morgan, not Miller. Unfortunately, it didn't go through.
Oh,
yeah,
darn.
definitely fun track. Not for me though. McLaren driver. Oh, curbs.
The curbs. All right. So, thank you, of course, as always, to all of the viewers out there on YouTube, either watching live or watching the recordings. Be sure to sound off in the chat or the comments, letting us know who you're here to support. Qualifying will be starting in just a couple minutes, but let's take a quick look at the standings before it does. After 4 rounds, Neil Sutherland still with a slight lead over Selena Boonstra and Jess Osborne, 311 points to him. Martin Riggs, you see number 12 on your screen, is our top silver driver. We'll have to keep an eye on him in his battle versus Nitin Murphy and Chris Sweeney, holding P2 and 3 in the silver. For the team standings, it's still the Lunar Motorsports comic racing team of Selena Boonstra and Jess Osborne. Still hot on their heels is the West Coast Best Coast Mustang team of Mr. Zipperburn and Mr. Sutherland. And really, so 16 points separating those two teams. The next closest team in P3 is 190 points away from P2. So really just kind of a top 2 battle we got going on here.
Yeah, it's pretty tight between them, and they're all getting good, results. It's definitely an exciting battle for those two.
Yeah, absolutely. So, as we mentioned, we are here at Zolder. The second sector of this track is just notoriously, I won't say bad, but it's deadly for certain cars and certain setups. We did mention Mr. Donovan Colton, you're in the Mustang this season. How is the Mustang here at Zolder?
It's actually really good. It's not easy. It's really difficult through sectors 1, 2, and 3. You have to be really good with your braking and more coasting than you'd think, to be honest. And but it's actually really good through sector 2. Sector 2, we've got the first chicane, which is infamous for having to just absolutely attack those curbs like crazy. A bit of an esports line, if you will. Yeah, really tricky chicane there. Going the rest of sector 2, you got that next chicane, which is very different, but still really important that you're pushing the track limits to the absolute limits. This is a track that in qualifying you really want to attack all the curbs like crazy, but I mean in the race sometimes you might want to favor taking it a little bit easy. Maybe not going all the way over the curbs like you would during qualifying, just to both save tires and minimize the risk of just completely, spinning out.
Sending yourself into low Earth orbit. Indeed.
Yeah, absolutely.
So clicking over to our race scene here, on board For our first flying lap, we're looking at Mr. Elliot Levine and the Team Non-Elite Aston Martin. Normally a car that I would assume to be pretty good over the curbs. We'll have to maybe do a little onboard coming through this fast and tricky first sector here. You know, this is always so conflicting for me to drive because there are some parts of this track that are so good and others that, I mean, I don't know about you, Mac Morgan, but I just can't stand. Taking a look.
Yeah, it's some of these corners really hard.
Especially in the
in the
cars
McLaren.
like the McLaren. I was just gonna say it. You're probably more familiar with that than I am. Yeah, I think the Aston Martin likely is decent around here. Although I think the BMW personally is really good over curbs, and I've heard it's terrible over the first chicane.
Really?
And also, I saw. I mean, I'm in D2. I saw during the D1 and D2 race, the BMWs did not do well over that chicane whatsoever. And
Really? That's fascinating.
I was really surprised too because I was always under the impression, it's the Chungus. It just eats the chicanes like crazy. And the Aston Martin, also being a good one. So we're coming over for our first flying laps. Let's see what they are. 130.1. Yeah, I feel like we're going to see those come down as Jay Queasy already is getting into the 28s here. I definitely think we'll be into the 28s. I mean, if you look at the hot lap leaderboard, we have a 27 from Movo. And I mean, we'll see once the gold drivers get out there if we'll get any 27. That's a tall order. That's a fast time around here.
Yeah, so you're right. So Amos Movo 127.877. But of our silver drivers, looking at the leaderboards, we've got Mr. Richie Wood currently on track, making his way through turn, I don't know if that's 3 or 4, at the end of Sector 1, a 128.292, his best leaderboard time. So I'm expecting already these silver drivers to be well into the low 128s as we see Mr. Richie Wood attempting to navigate that. And there you see it, the car just kind of pogo sticking up and over those monstrous sausage curbs. But Richie Wood keeping it together well up on his Delta, looking to set a hot lap here on his second flying lap.
Yeah, it's so infuriating sometimes going over that chicane. You have to attack it like that. You have to do a little pogoing basically, because otherwise it just, I mean, you've got no pace. Now, one car I was surprised to see was really good, and I saw some clips and it was like kind of mind-blowing, is the 488 is really good over these curves. And
interesting.
I mean, I saw some clips of Dan Cran and Fazley just absolutely just floating over it. No pogoing, like just floating over it. It's kind of amazing.
Yeah, it's funny you should mention that. They did actually increase the ballast on the 488 just a little bit. What was it? Yesterday? 2 days ago?
Yeah, yep. They moved it from -40 to -30.
Wow.
That was Dan Cran doing some investigative journalism, I guess, over the weekend to try and yeah, it was pretty it was pretty impressively fast, to be honest. So that's just balancing out that bop to make sure the 488s weren't too floating over it. Speaking of 488,
speak of the devil, let's
Jason's
see.
over it here.
Jason Yarn in the 488, and
that does kind of eat it quite a bit.
Taking that first curb on the left pretty easily, getting good drive out towards the second chicane, which also is pretty tricky in his own. Look at the abuse of track limits, just keeping the faintest whiff of a tire there on the right side, keeping it within track limits, motoring down towards this kind of hairpin here at the start of Sector 3. In the meantime, we did see Mr. Justin McKechdes propel himself up to provisional pole. Quickly sniped, though, by Jacob Hall in that BMW M4 that we were talking about earlier, a 128.492. So with 3.5 minutes left for our silver drivers, it's getting hot up at the top.
Yeah, absolutely. And Jay Queasy up there as well. He has had some unfortunate races this season, so it's great to see him up there. Yeah, and you can see
the 488. Justin McKechnie's back in the old Ferrari and looking good here at Zolder.
Yeah, he's dealing with a little bit.
A lot of traffic.
Yeah, yeah, from... Is that Queasy?
That is Mr. Jay Queasy in the new Ferrari, the Ferrari 296. McKechnie's right up on his tail. He's going to want to get a little bit of space before he starts his next flying lap. Neither driver improving too much on their deltas. Mr. Richie Wood, though, in the meantime, we did mention he had the top leaderboard time for silver drivers, currently sitting with a 128.922, and as he navigates this third sector here, slightly up on the delta, hoping for a bit of an improvement. 2 minutes and 20 seconds left on the board, so he should have time to complete this lap plus 2 more by my estimate. Exiting the final turn, about a 1/10.5 up on his delta, and as he crosses the line, improving to just 4th place, a 128.790. Another big earner on the board. This is Mr. Connor Adams, the Champion Motorsports Fast and Festive Ferrari 296. Coming through this final left-right sequence of turns onto the start-finish straight, and with an improvement of about a half a second, will jump from P16 all the way up to P7. Well done to him. Another driver with a big improvement on the board. We got Mr. Nitin Murthy, the Champion Motorsports Mercedes, a car that I would expect to be pretty solid around this track. Typically has a reputation of being very good over curbs. 0.7 up, 3/4 of a second up on his delta. He's going to have a huge jump now.
Nice.
All the way up to P3, a 128.645, and he says that's all I got. I don't need one more. Taking that provisional P3, hoping to fend off any challengers. Got another BMW on track. This is G-Bev the third, getting really slidey coming out of that second chicane. Would we call that a chicane? It's a right, left, right, kind of a double.
It is a chicane. I mean, I would say the left-right part is a chicane, especially looking at the track map. But yeah, then it immediately goes into that right turn. You know, it's so goofy though. That whole complex, there's 4 turns that are counted as one turn.
Oh,
just turn 7. Going into the pits.
Yeah, would have had time to do one more, but I guess just electing to practice his pit entry. He says that's enough for me. So
maybe didn't have enough fuel.
Yeah, I was about to say that. It could have been a fuel issue.
So of our drivers out on track still, we got Richie Wood, who is right behind Mr. Jay Queasy, who, if I'm not mistaken, has invalidated his lap. Out on track in front of Richie Wood. Hopefully not
impede. Technically, I think you would be blue flag.
You would assume so. Maybe we've got a little, both of these drivers are representing the other side of the pond. Maybe a little bit of teamwork between the two. Maybe going for a draft, but no. Richie Wood well down on his delta, so this isn't going to be an improvement for him anyways. Back on board with Connor Adams, currently sitting P8 and a couple tenths up on his delta. Hoping for a small improvement. Not seeing too much potential otherwise out on track. We've got, well, as I say that, we've got JB Rudzik of the Baseline Racing Elfs BMW team coming out of this final turn about a 10th up on the delta, but not great drive. He won't be improving too much. And although he does go faster, not able to improve his position, P14 he will remain. Connor Adams, though, if he can get good drive out of this final turn, he cannot.
That's a really tough final chicane. I mean, it looked like just cooking it a little bit too high, especially when you're doing well. You want to push it, but then you end up just, either pushing it too hard through the first part of it, then understeering or oversteering out of the second part, and yeah, then it just ruins the lap.
Yep, definitely. So taking a look here, we've got Mr. Amos Movo leaving the pit lane a little bit late. He doesn't need all that time anyways, but he will be our driver to watch, as he did have the fastest lap on the practice leaderboard. Let's jump on board with Miss Selena Boonstra of that Lunars Motorsports Comic Racing Team Championship leading Porsche team, along with her teammate Jess Osborne, who we did not highlight at all during qualifying because he is absent from this race. I am not. Oh, P26. Oh, he's a gold driver. Duh, he's a gold driver. I'm sorry, guys.
Oh, yeah.
Duh. I don't know why I was thinking he was a silver driver. So, okay. So, Boonstra
well, he was D2
and Osborne.
silver last season.
Maybe that's what I was thinking of. Okay.
Yeah, that's it.
That's it. So, of our P2 team, and in fact our leading championship driver, we've got Mr. Neil Sutherland hanging out in the pit lane. We see him drop off the air jacks there. I don't think he has any sort of penalty to serve. Okay, here we go. He didn't need those first 2 laps either. He was just waiting for a little bit of clear track. That was going to be some huge drama if our championship leader didn't come out and set a lap in quali.
Yeah, absolutely.
As we see Selena crossing the line. 129.80.
Yeah, I feel like that would be a little bit late for, strategy reasons. Like, I could understand giving up one of your laps to get, a free track. Amos Movo there has nobody in front of him at all. Nobody to distract him. He could purely focus on getting in his quali lap. And, yeah, and it is important. Quali is actually very important here. It's tricky to pass, and so you want to get as good of a qualifying as you can.
Yeah, that is a good point. Not a whole lot of overtaking opportunities in this race. I mean, from my experience, it's kind of just putting the guy in front of you in the pressure cooker, hoping that he makes a mistake, and that's really the only way to get an overtake done on this difficult, tight track. Even little details here, like they put this quick little left-right kink after the exit of that hairpin, which just discourages you from trying to go side by side into this braking zone, just removing one more overtaking opportunity.
Yeah, it's tricky to find a good spot to overtake. I found right here is one of the better spots. It's really there and coming into this last chicane. But yeah, like you said, that little left-right kink there, definitely makes that more difficult.
So checking out Mr. Seth Rocha here of the Turbo Tinsel team as he exits this final turn onto the start-finish straight. A good improvement on the Delta, jumping up from P18 to P4, a 128.575. In the meantime, we saw Mr. Movo already up into P2. I believe that was his first. Whoa! That is not a valid line over that chicane, so that's going to be an invalid lap from Movo, but a 128.532. Yeah, super fast. A BMW jumping up to the top. Adam Krolikowski, who we haven't seen too much of this season. That beautiful holiday livery. Got the snowflakes and the jingle bells.
I want to say this was the driver that was moved down from D2 before last race.
Oh,
so
that would explain that.
Why,
okay.
Yeah, look at that. That actually, it wasn't terrible on the BMW there. I'm back to the curb. It's just such a fascinating part about this track, because obviously, like I said, it's a bit of a esports line. It's definitely a showing, the game side of ACC, because that's, I feel like if you took that every lap in real life, you'd get a concussion and probably,
well, you destroy your car in no time.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, it's like like I've said, it's very important to the lap time, so everybody's got to adopt that line.
Yeah, so Krolikowski not up for any sort of an improvement on this lap, but 3 minutes and 40 seconds left on the board. He will have plenty of time to set whatever. Counting fails me. It's 3-ish more laps. We've got Jack Sullivan in the Blockbuster Mustang, currently sitting P6. Our championship leaders, though, not seeing a whole lot of yet. Got Boonstra, still that 127.757. She's a couple tenths up on that lap so far. Looking for Osborne, currently sitting P21. Zipperburn, P22.
Ovo is really high up, and he's getting close to the final corner right now.
So
7 tenths, 8 tenths.
What is this?
This is a
lap?
flying lap, a proper flying lap.
8 tenths of an improvement, and as he crosses the line, oh,
that's his PB.
That's a PB
Amazing
lap from Amos Movo, 127.667.
Holy cow!
What a legend!
That is a phenomenal lap.
I tell you what, he
Yeah.
can park it.
Yeah.
Nobody's
He's not
beating
going
that.
to. He's going to keep going.
I want to see some improvements. He can do 2 more.
Yeah.
He's a 10th down. He's got a 10th on it right now. Of course, as I say that, it goes back down to roughly neutral. But
A little bit out on that gravel at the exit of turn 3, and that kind of destroys your drive down that straight.
like a lot of curb there.
I mean, that would be a decent. I want to say the D1 pole time was a 0.3. That's only 3/10 off
God.
of the D1 pole time during the practice race yesterday. So that's a fast time. And if you know Movo, I mean, he has been grinding like crazy these last couple weeks. He's really trying to improve his pace, improve his racecraft. So yeah, it's great to see that, working from him and getting in these great laps.
Absolutely.
You know, you mentioning that made me kind of wonder, what is the D1 poll right now? So I popped over to the D1 stream, and the poll is 127.3, so he's only 3/10 off of it. That would probably put him, I think, just outside the top 10 in D1.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great time. He's definitely going to be at least in D2 next season, I'm sure.
Yep, you see on the roof of that car, he's got the D5 tag with the D3 slapped over the top of it. Let's just add one more layer. He's a D2 driver. Give him that promotion.
Yeah.
So Selena Boonstra, in the meantime, was able to improve a 128.482. Very rapid lap out of her. Good enough for P3 provisionally. Time for one more. We've got Rosha up to P6. We got Sean Leitch, a name that we haven't seen too much of, but this is Mr. Movo's teammate in the D5 Misplacements team. Himself into the 128s, a 128.535. Luis Vasquez, our race 1 winner from Suzuka, currently sitting P10, but with a huge improvement, a half a second up on his delta. Looking good enough for P2 provisionally if he can hold it together through these final 2 turns. Hard on the brakes, just keep it within track limits. You don't have to push too hard. Well done, not too much curb on the inside, no grass on the outside, and as he crosses the line, Luis Vasquez instantly up into P2, a 128.042. Well done to him. Glad to see him back at the top of the timing sheets. Sully navigating sector 3 here. 128.5, his current best on the board, but a couple tenths up on that, hoping for a small improvement. A little bouncy over the inside, out onto the grass. He'll lose drive and lose all of that improvement. I know that feeling.
Bit of a rage quit.
Yeah.
I know that feeling as well.
That's a shame. So P9 for Sully. We take those though. Krolikowski, P6 and looking good for, I say good for an improvement, but this current lap, I don't know if it's showing invalid on anybody else's timing screens. It is
for me.
It's kind of a bug that happens though in ACC sometimes. The lap timer is just ticking up, showing invalid. I think he might be able to cross the line here. We might see a jump up the timing screen. Krolikowski sitting P6. Good drive out of the final turn. about a quarter of a second up on his delta, which, if it's valid, indeed.
Yep, up to P3.
Up to P3. Well done to him. Excellent crush.
Tight. It
Yeah.
is so tight. I mean, behind,
Well,
you know,
yeah,
the
besides
top two
Movo
are
and
a little-
Vasquez. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
They're-
If you
they're
ignore the top 4-ish, real
Yeah.
tight. Real
so
tight.
tight.
Yeah. All right. So this is the time in the stream that we kick it over to our sponsor appreciation block. We've got on screen now our community supporters, sponsors, and title sponsors. These are the boys and girls that kick in a little bit of money every month to supporting SRA and all of the costs, as well as Jay Queasy with our sponsor read.
A huge thank you to our SRA sponsors and title sponsors for supporting us here at SRA, as well as support from Documise, a modern business solution for product management. Go to documise.com to learn more today. And support from Retro Saga, a North American-based gaming company that provides accessories for your favourite classic systems, including Nintendo, Sega, PlayStation, and much more. Enhance your retro gaming experience today at retrosaga.ca. And a big thank you to our affiliates, Track Racer. Experience redefined gaming with Track Racer's high-quality sim rigs and accessories. Use code SRATE at checkout to support us. Armamentario, a toolbox for ACC that will enhance your chance to win. Enjoy a fully customizable and enhanced HUD to change the way you experience ACC. AT3D Sim Shop. Upgrade your sim racing experience today with premium 3D printed accessories featuring precision crafted magnetic shifters, sleek cable management solutions, versatile stream deck mounts, and immersive dashboard displays. Their innovative designs enhance performance and style, elevate every lap with top-tier quality and craftsmanship at at3d.net. Go Setups, premium esports setups for everybody. Use our affiliate link on our Discord and take your drive to the next level. Castle and Cauldron, a home-based crafting business specializing in handmade Harry Potter, Fantastic Beasts, and Fairy World collectibles. Magic wands, potions, mini dioramas, wall decor, costumery, cosplay, and much more. Castle and Cauldron is where crafting meets the magical. Visit facebook.com/Castle Cauldron. And from KP Concepts, your source for custom automotive renderings, graphic design, and printing. We spend countless hours making you look all good for the spectacle. Check out kpconcepts.com for more.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Queasy, for that sponsor read so that none of us here have to do it. Out on our sighting lap now, just taking a quick look at all of our beautiful liveries here from our SRA community members. You'll love to see them. So, big drama, I suppose, just for me, because I always try to keep track of the championship. Our leading Mustang driver, Mr. Sutherland, P31. Qualifying did not go well for him. His teammate, Zipperburn, P25. Osborne of the championship leading team, P24. Guys, what happened in this qualifying session? Our championship favorites are nowhere.
Movo took all of their speed, man.
yeah, he did. He stole it all. Yeah, I mean, it's interesting, you know, when you look at the results from the last race too. I mean, Neil won the race by a good amount too, almost 10 seconds, I want to say.
Yeah.
And then we had it was Jess, then Selena, and then Zipperburn after that. So they were the top four. So yeah, definitely spread out, spicing this up a bit. You know, Selena still in a pretty good position though. P5 is still
P5
super
is fine.
solid. So
she's the one who
it's
performed.
looking good to, you know, for the Porsche team to, you know, kind of extend their lead a little bit. I see Selena still has the wrong number on the side of her car. I'm gonna say it every stream.
She'll fix it eventually.
Eventually, she'll be shamed into changing it.
Well, and to be fair, she may have fixed it. I just haven't synced liveries in a while. So
Oh, so maybe it's your
that could be it.
I'll give her an out there. We'll say that she did fix it, but it's my fault.
Okay.
So a new feature that I'm gonna turn on for the stream right now. We've got our picture-in-picture set up. Currently looking at that exit of the first chicane. We're not saying that we want there to be massive carnage at the exit of the first chicane on the first lap, but just as experienced GT3 drivers, we might be seeing something. So we've got a dedicated view for the folks at home looking at the exit of that first chicane as Mr. Amos Movo crossing the line here, waiting for the lights to go green.
Green light, go, go, go.
And we are underway for this 60-minute race here at Zolder. Our top 7 or so doing well to keep it nice and clean through the first turn. Luis Vasquez peeking the inside, thinks better of it. Amos Movo able to maintain P1. We see some drama, some yellow flags off track. That's number 545. That's one of our Yaron brothers, as well as Lamborghini of Anderson. We've got drivers off after turn 2. Hard into the brakes. Luis Vasquez a little early. Krolikowski getting thrown off by that. Keeps it on track. Krolikowski losing a position to Jacob Hall, who inherits P2. John Leitch taking advantage of Luis Vasquez. Luis Vasquez tumbling down the order, looking at P7 now, slotting in finally behind Seth Rocha of the Tinsel Lamborghini team. Behind that's Justin McKechnie's way over the inside of the grass. And losing drive and losing a position to Nitin Murthy. Christian Holmes as well, up the inside of Sullivan. That little right-left kink.
Yeah.
Making it difficult to go side by side. Sully, will he be braver on the brakes? He will.
He will be, yeah.
Getting back P10. But, man, so we...
Ooh, and over the curve.
Oh no,
Holmes there
Christian
losing.
Holmes.
Oh, going the wrong way. That is the worst case scenario for that curve there.
Man, so Jacob Hall battling with Selena Boonstra. Krolikowski was able to retake P2. We don't know how that happened. Boonstra and Hall now fighting hard. Sean Leitch making a look up the inside.
Ooh, Vasquez.
Vasquez
I
on
think there's a bit
Rocha.
of contact there. In the back.
Going side by... Nope, Vasquez thinks better of it. It did go... Well, I guess last time, there was a bit of a problem in the braking. I mean, yeah, that was close to disastrous. Fortunately, nothing too horrible happened. Obviously, Vasquez losing 4 positions is definitely...
Well, so to try to keep up on the action, so we saw Jason Yaron getting in a little bit of a tiff with Kevin Anderson, both drivers in the pits, potentially repairing some damage. Curtis Lee as well in the pits after lap 1. Looking to see if we can get him back on track. The Love of Lexus Mustang driver is always a fan favorite, of course. Into the braking zone of the hairpin. Zodi Fade getting absolutely smashed by, that was Schmitzer in the other Aston Martin behind. He keeps it on track. He loses, I believe, only 2 positions into the braking zone here. Oh, the battles with the Lambos are just... Was that a driver spinning out behind? Hang on, that was number 88. That was Schmitzer again, just having a tough go of it this race. Probably that same inside curb that we saw taking out Christian Holmes. No curbs at all.
No.
Just a little loose on the rear end. Keeps it out of the wall, so no damage there.
Better than the other spin we saw there.
Yeah, so in the meantime, Vasquez still battling with Rocha, but pretty well clear, so he should be able to make a little bit of a break, maybe get back up to some of the drivers ahead. Amos Mofo kind of marching away with it. A 2-second gap now over Adam Krolikowski. Drama at the chicane for once. This is Russell Allen off in the muck. Tried to go side by side with a Lambo, and yeah,
a little bit later on the brakes.
A double whammy.
I mean, there kind of still was room on the outside, but just clipped that back corner, losing a ton of positions. Panzo
97.
Rigatoni,
Oh,
no!
that's a bad spot.
That's a terrible spot to lose control of your Lamborghini. So at this hairpin here, no contact, but wide out onto the stuff, and it's the side by side. Oh no!
You were just talking about that chicane.
It's a little wiggle that shouldn't even be there, and as Panzo tried to go side by side with, that was one of the TC8 McLarens. I don't know if that was Pablo Ferrer or
I believe it was Vargas,
or if it was Wilder Vargas, who is now in the pits. Yeah,
I want to point out Jess was collected in that incident.
Wait,
and
what?
Yeah, he was collateral hitting Vargas in that incident. So Jess opting to immediately go into the pits as Vargas and repair that damage. But yeah, that's a big bummer to that championship for Jess.
Yeah. We really do got to think about that, because if I'm not mistaken, he and Selena Boonstra on the same team, leading the team's championship right now. But I think they were outscored just a little bit last week at Nürburgring. And so if Jess is falling down the order, might not even finish due to that incident, that could really throw a hammer in the works for him and Boonstra trying to get the team's title this season.
Absolutely. It looks like Jess going back out. I don't think Jess is definitely not the one to quit. So he's going to continue that race. But yeah, it's definitely looking tough when you look at the other team, of Mustangs running 18th, 20th. They're making up some positions by keeping things clean. So, particularly with Neil Sutherland.
So looking ahead, Boonstra thinking about a side-by-side with the BMW of Hall through this tricky first chicane. Thinking better of it, backs off, just keeping it in line. It's a long race, 53 minutes left to go. McKechnie's right up on the tail of Murphy. Similarly, we've got Watts right up behind Sully. Oh, McKechnie's
going side by
Murphy.
Side there.
Wow.
What an aggressive move from Justin. I mean, Justin is definitely that way. He's an aggressive dragger. He likes to make passes work when you don't think they should.
Ooh, rigs up the inside of DJ Watts. Keep it clean through the little wiggle.
That kink is terrible, isn't it?
Side by side now, coming into this final sequence, left, right, and Martin Riggs keeping his nose in it, staying side by side.
A little bit more contact.
They're trading paint, but they're still side by side.
Rubbing is racing, right?
Rubbing is racing. So hot action on track, even all the way down. So looking at now, this is P19, 20, and 21. Levine from Zipperburn from Rutzik. These are, of course, some of our championship contenders. Mr. Zipperburn Jr. getting a little off into the gravel there at the exit of turn 3. Vulnerable.
Just takes away so much time.
Yeah, you lose your drive.
You lose so much going into the curb, and it could be just the tiniest mistake. But
speaking of losing drive,
yeah, there was the BMW, that pogoing the BMW, and the 488 just cruising around the outside there.
Yeah, Jeremy Aaron says thank you very much. P22 now, or P21 actually. That was a pass for P2. Up ahead, Vasquez still battling with Sean Leitch. The D5 Misplacements team not really living up to their name in this race. Currently sitting Oh, Seth Rocha!
Oh, that was not the turn I was expecting to have so many casualties. I mean, I was expecting, you know, the first chicane, even right there, you know, this is a really tough spot. Oh, this was a problem getting back on track.
What? Oh, what?
Oh,
Are you? Jeez.
That's terrifying.
That is absolutely terrifying. I don't know which one of the Yarn brothers that was there, but that was almost
that was
a terrible end to a race. Man, that was really close.
So Jay Queasy battling hard against Cube Master here. This is a battle for P28 and 29 on track. Cube Master getting really not great drive through that long right-hander, giving the opportunity for Jay Queasy to make the overtake. P28, Dan Cran will love to see that. A couple more points for his fantasy team. Looking back up ahead, Justin McKechnie's in the Ferrari 488. He's got to be the story of the race for me. He's back on track, he's in a different car, and he's having success. P8 in this race. Got to be his best result so far of the season if he can maintain it.
Yeah, absolutely. And he's a very aggressive driver. He's good at tracks like that, or like this, and it's a good car for this track. Like we discussed, it's definitely a solid car.
G-Bev, just a little bit of a wiggle trying to discourage any move from behind. That's just Osborne, who has made his one mandatory pit stop and is not, so this isn't for position. So G-Bev in P16, this is just Osborne in P36. He is a blue flag driver technically to this battle, so I wouldn't expect him to make any sort of overtaking maneuver.
Oh, who's that?
That's
344.
44, we are checking.
That's Kroliskowski.
Kroliskowski, our D2
Stuck in the middle of the road.
joiner. So this is
Everybody trying to make their way around him.
Between 4. Wow.
on the exit, just
That
really
is,
loose.
Oh, one of the Aaron brothers. Oh, more contacts.
Oh no.
After you get to the replay, who was that? It was a Ferrari. The Aaron brothers had to avoid him.
Okay, we're clicking replay again. Middle of the track, he's just kind of stranded, and he's still alive.
So was it a different?
It's right here. It's right here.
Oh no!
Got the double whammy in there.
Oh,
He moved forward.
I didn't see the second one.
I'm 99% certain I saw him move forward into Colin Shea. That's...
I think he might have gotten bonked in the back by a car that was a little bit further ahead and then hit into Shea.
We'll leave that to the stewards, but either
yeah,
way,
that is...
the Ferrari 296 of Colin Shea, I would expect to see pit at this time to repair some of that damage. Terrible luck for him.
Kroliskowski as well. Just look at his car. It is absolutely demolished. The car looks like it came out of a junkyard, to be honest.
Been through the ringer.
He's, of course, going into the pits.
Rutzik taking a peek. The block pass on Aaron, which will enable his teammate to... not quite.
I was going to say, was that a bit of some teamwork to bully...
Well,
Jeremy
and it's
there?
still working. Ren Aoki side by side now into turn... You're calling this turn 4 or turn 3?
Yep, turn 4.
Turn 4.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. I've been calling it the wrong thing. And makes the overtake there on the exit. Well done, Ren Aoki. The promotion up into P20. McKechnie's still right up on Nitin Murthy. Hasn't been able to make any sort of overtake yet. We'll keep an eye on that as the race progresses. So
I think I want to point out with all that drama from Kolikrowski.
Yeah.
Movo is 10 seconds ahead.
Yeah. That's exactly where I'm going. So Krolikrowski was P2 and he was the only one close to Movo. The gap now, I mean, you see just on your screen the red dot of Jacob Hall on your minimap, who is under a ton of pressure from Selena, by the way, side by side into turn 2. Selena around the outside, Braver on the brakes. Get it done.
Also, look at that
Luis
Porsche turn in there.
Wow, and so the big loser in all of that, Sean Leitch, getting overtaken by Vasquez and... I believe just Vasquez losing.
Oh yeah, it was just Vasquez. Yeah.
Just Vasquez, okay.
But speaking of Vasquez, looking at a
ins-
side-by-side.
Oh, good decision. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, after what happened, you know, the first, getting a little sideways there on the second part of the chicane. Yeah, after what happened that lap 1, I have a feeling Vasquez is going to be feeling a little less brave around that chicane, and is going to want to keep it single file.
Yep, so this is now Martin Riggs in a bit of a battle himself. We've got Adams ahead, Sutherland behind. Sutherland, of course, wanting to make a little bit more of an improvement. P16, he's made a big jump up from his qualifying position, but there's still a lot more points on the table with 45 minutes left in this race. Followed close behind by, that's Jess Osborne you see on our screen. So actually,
that's got to be so frustrating to be behind one of your competitors, but you're a lap down.
So let's take a look then. So of our drivers who have pit, got Mr. Jeremy Aaron is kind of our top driver. 97, Panzo Rigatoni is stopped on track off of turn 1. Not sure how or why. Yeah, just a little deep on the brakes. Spun it into the gravel, and he appears to be fairly stuck there. We saw Mr. Shea, if this replay will end, so we saw him get wiped out, had to pit for damage, and in the process of speeding in the pit lane, a stop go 30. Terrible news. It just goes from bad to worse for Colin Shea. We've got number 801 also having trouble. This is Cube Master. See if we can spot what happened to him side by side. Oh, with the Aston Martin, and just the slightest of touches leads to huge damage for Cube Master. That was Quentin Shatner that he tangled with there. Tough outcome for Cube Master. That team of Cube Master and Sean Daniels have not had a great season.
Yeah, I just feel so bad for them. They have had terrible luck. They've had just everything going wrong for them. So yeah, I definitely feel for that team.
Taking a look at Christian Holmes battling side by side with Jay Queasy. Queasy making the overtake on the inside. This is a battle for P22 and 23. Christian Holmes, good drive throw, not able to make any sort of overlap into this final sequence of turns.
Ooh. One of close. He saved it that time. that was a close one.
So, while we were talking about that, McKechnie has gotten around Murphy.
Oh, let's see how far I would have to go back to find that. Side by side into turn 2. McKechnie holding it tight, and into turn 3, yeah, just able to make that overtake finally happen. Well done, Justin. So we saw Martin Riggs, the first of our top drivers to pit. We'll have to keep an eye on where he comes out on track in relation to some of our big undercut drivers. I won't call it a strategic undercut, more of like a mandatory undercut, because they got into some trouble on the first part of this race. Nitin Murthy still hunting Justin McKechnie's, who went wide there at that hairpin. Not able to make any sort of overlap though, so McKechnie's, for now at least, will maintain that position. So we do see Jeremy Yarin here, trying to find on the screen where Mr. Riggs is, exiting the pit. Okay, yeah, so well ahead of all of our unintentional early pitters. But behind... Wait, Jack Sullivan
was running in P9, I want to say.
That sounds about right, but Martin Riggs
my guess is
wasn't...
That's just... Nope, I don't think they were battling. Martin
they weren't
Riggs
too close
was
on
in,
track?
Like 15th,
okay.
I believe.
Okay, so that gap we're seeing on track is
about what they had.
It's 15 seconds between Sullivan and Riggs right now.
Yeah, I think that's...
Okay.
945 off in turn 3.
Oh no.
Who's that?
945 is Colin Shea, I believe.
Oh no.
Trying to get back on
man.
track right now.
That goes to worse to worse. I mean,
Missed it, but probably just wide through turn 2, an easy mistake to make. And
Yeah.
kind of stretch.
You want to carry as
hard.
much speed through there as you can, but it's just so easy to just overestimate how much speed. Yeah,
that's
really
a fast
unfortunate.
turn. It's hard to get on the track there and not get in the way of those drivers, going out to the outside there.
So Movo still that same commanding lead. Boonstra
Yeah,
P2.
almost 14 seconds.
Hall getting dropped a little bit by Boonstra. The gap 1 second ahead. Luis Vasquez, who was our second place qualifier, at one point dropped down to P7, back up to P4, and on the hunt, looking to get himself back onto the podium here, putting a little bit of pressure on Mr. Hall in that number 234 BMW. Got DJ Watts coming into the pits from P13. Trying to take a peek at our championship here. So this is Zipperburn showing P14 right behind his teammate Sutherland, P13. A couple of blue flag drivers in between them on track. That's Osborne and Yaren coming into that tight first chicane. So Sutherland making some improvements. We'll have to keep an eye on his progress as the race goes on. Rutzik on Aoki. These guys are teammates, so even though they're pretty close on track, I'm not expecting any intentional dive bombs. You never know, accidents happen.
Yeah, absolutely.
I've sent it on my teammates accidentally once or twice.
Swapped positions, I want to say, too, didn't they?
You're right. Aoki was behind Rutzik.
Yeah.
Oh, good call.
Or whether that's tactical or
yeah, papaya
not.
rules.
They have swap position. So Ian has a good question in the chat. What is Movo's fastest lap?
So currently, Amos Movo with a 128.655 on his first set of tires with full fuel. Pretty sure that's faster than anything I've done in qualifying practice on the time trial servers. This man is a monster.
Yeah.
How does he do it?
Yeah, he's cooking. He is cooking.
Vasquez still putting the pressure on Hall, who's looking a bit defensive. Not quite tucking it back to the right there into
Vasquez
that chicane.
Keeps poking that. I don't think he's wanting to take that opportunity pretty much unless, something big happens in turn 4 where you could get alongside. I mean, that's a tricky chicane to go side by side through. I did make it through. Both cars were valid last night in the practice race. Both cars valid, no contact. So it's possible. It's just not probable.
I get the feeling you both lost a lot of time that lap as well.
We did. So did the car behind us.
So looking down the board, we've got Jack Sullivan, who has made his one mandatory pit stop, currently sitting P3 of our drivers who have done so, coming out just ahead. That's, I believe, Nitin Murthy, who himself pit from, I believe, P7.
So when they cross this line, yeah, Sullivan is leading the cars who have pit. So I think this undercut is working really well for Sullivan here.
So again, Murthy was right behind Justin McKechties, who was himself P6. So yeah, so P7 for Murthy. Yeah, Sullivan doing well with that slight undercut, looking to gain a couple positions here. Skez still stalking Hall. The gap has built up a little bit, but still within slipstream range. Hall struggling a bit through that tight chicane, but getting good drive down. Should have... Whoa! Luis Vasquez!
Whoa.
Oh,
Great save.
wow.
Wow. That was a heart and mouth moment there.
Wow, just getting the power down a bit too far. Yeah, just Audi things.
Yeah.
Nice save though. He's still on track, and yeah, still tight. We'll keep an eye on that battle. Tim Ducharme battling ahead to JB Rutzik, the Turbo Tinsel Team Lamborghini. Doing well. Exciting race for these guys. So this is from P14, Elliot Levine. P14, 15, 16, and 17 covered by about a second from Ducharme to Levine. Tight on-track action here. And Aoki not going for any sort of peak, though, just keeping it nice and respectful. See, though, into turn 1. Nah, not nearly close enough for any sort of action here.
Yeah.
Rusty Burns.
That would be quite the send, especially because it's not a huge braking zones in this first sector. Unless you're pretty much already alongside for a mistake, you can't really do anything drastic.
BMWs are looking slidey, I must say.
Well, that's Ren. Ren is always looking slidey. I don't know if Rutzik is using the same setup, but I've driven Ren's preferred setups, and they're slidey. He likes Tokyo drifting around.
Nice. You love to see it.
Might want to switch to the Porsche.
I think I have seen Ren. I think he's driving the Porsche in the oh my goodness, the Endurance series.
Ah,
so
okay.
He is a bit of a Porsche guy at heart too.
So right up on the tail of Levine. Looking ahead, I believe that is a blue flag driver in a Mercedes. Or not necessarily blue flag, but has completed his mandatory pit stop. Indeed, that is Christian Holmes. So, depending on when the drivers behind elect to pits, Christian Holmes might be required to move aside and let these guys go. The rule for this series is once you get blue flagged, you have one full lap to give up the position. We don't want to see people driving around for 3 laps holding up the leaders of this race.
Especially since it's a team championship and somebody would definitely exploit that.
So, Levine's struggling a bit through this first sector here. 33 minutes left in this race. The first set of tires you gotta feel is thoroughly worn in, and you gotta be considering at this point, if there's traffic ahead, if you're struggling on this set, maybe going for a bit of an undercut.
Yeah, as Sullivan is proving, the undercut is definitely a viable option here.
Yeah, he's got.
We got a yellow. Is that Panzo?
No, not again.
97.
It is. It's Panzo. Oh, come on.
Oh.
Panzo.
This is such a bummer. He's struggling with that Lambo. The Lambo's a tough car to drive.
Yeah, I feel that. So as we come through, Panzo, easy, dude.
Oh.
And he returns to garage wisely, getting off track. Wow.
Oh my
was
goodness.
almost a disaster.
Who was it that was in that position earlier?
That was Krolikowski.
Krolikowski, yeah.
Did not return to garage.
Yeah, and maybe caused a bit of a mess because of it.
Just a bit of a mess. I while we were going through the replay, I was watching all the cars going around him. There were so many close calls before that incident.
Yeah.
I don't know how. I forget which Darren brother that was. I don't know how they missed him.
Yeah. Well, and you don't expect, that is not a super common place for a full-on spin out, to happen. Yeah. So you're not really expecting something crazy like that, where when you see, yellow ahead, you kind of expect, chicane, not at, the end of turn 4.
So our race
again, we
leader...
say it's uncommon, but it's happened twice this race so far. So
I know.
Is it really that uncommon?
It's true. I thought it was, but
we've actually not had anybody go out of the chicane. I'd say I'm disappointed, but no, I'm glad.
Yeah, no, it's good to see. So Movo coming in for his first pit, his only pit, his pit stop.
So Movo, Boonstra, and now Justin McKechties are P1, 2, and 6 drivers electing to pit after this 18th lap of the race.
pretty much exactly halfway here.
So things are popping. So now Luis Vasquez right behind Jacob Hall, still about a half a second separating these two drivers. They will be inheriting P1 and 2 on the track for now. Luis Vasquez doing it well to stay off the dirt on the outside. A good drive on Jacob Hall. So yeah, still just keeping the pressure on. We've got some blue flag traffic ahead. Not sure which Lamborghini that is. I believe it would be indeed Mr. Martin Riggs. Currently sitting P22, but has completed his pit stop, so he is blue flagged to the drivers behind, of course. Want to see that he doesn't hold up this battle too much. Same for Connor Adams. Rudzik on Levine, the battle continues. We did see in the meantime, Ren Aoki has come into the pit, so has Sutherland as well. Some championship implications there. We'll have to keep an eye on where he comes out. Did I just see a car leave the server? But who flashed off the screen in front of me? Jacob Hall coming into the pits, which will give Luis Vasquez what Luis Vasquez would have been P1, but after we'll have to see what happens on the exit of this final turn. Oh, maybe he just got thrown off by the driver ahead with the weird braking points. Goes off track, deep on the brakes, and loses the position now to Sean Leitch, who inherits the temporary lead of this race. The D5 misplacements leading laps of this race put him in D2. They're too fast for D3 even. So everybody's stopping
now. Time
now.
to get those screenshots. You know?
All Stack, G-Bev, Dick Zipperburn, Elliot Levine, all in the pits. Will only have 3 drivers left out on track. Luis Vasquez getting a huge run on Leitch out of that first chicane, side by side into the second.
All in the marbles, though, it is so hard to. I mean, it is low grip on that outside there.
Wise decision there to back off.
Yeah.
So Leitch, Vasquez, JB Rudzik currently sitting P3. Sean Daniels still on track himself. Are only 4 drivers who have left or have yet to pit. Let's check in with our leaders, of course. We've got Mr. Amos Movo, not even close to Jacob Hall.
Wait, something happened to Selena. Selena was P2 going into the pits, and even coming out of the pits.
No, she still is. We were just waiting for the timing line. She's still there.
She's
still got to
say something. That was confusing because it was showing Jacob Hall, but she pit the same time as Movo. Yeah,
so she's still got a 3-second gap over Hall. So that all's right with the world. Everybody relax.
All right. Yeah, I was gonna say we missed something big. But yeah,
But the big earner here, Jack Sullivan, right up behind Hall. This is provisionally, I would call it P4 in this race.
Yeah, it is.
Depending on where Leitch and Vasquez come out of the pits, but Jack Sullivan with that early pit stop, a huge early gainer, ahead of Murphy, well ahead of McKechnie's. Elliot Levine, you hate to see it, must have been speeding in the pits or track limits.
No, I
you
think
never know.
It was track limits. It came up on when he was passing that first chicane. So yeah. The chicanes are definitely a opportunity to get track cuts if you cut too much of them, which it's a bummer too because they're smoother to take when you cut them as much as you can, so you're really encouraged to cut as much as you possibly can. But yeah, you're kind of playing with fire there. So hopefully there's not too many drive-throughs, but yeah, our first one so far.
Our first one of the race indeed. So Nick Murphy looking racy with Sullivan ahead. Great drive out of turn 4 there, just not really a long enough straight to make any sort of impression into that chicane. Man, that Mercedes looks good over those curbs. Vasquez now has come out of the... So maybe just off of the back of that error we saw at the final turn, has dropped now behind Justin McKechnie's. This would be a provisional P9 looking at?
Yep.
disappointing stuff from Luis Vasquez. Our second place qualifier was doing well in P4, but 26 minutes left in this race, still plenty of time.
Looks like our last 3 drivers are in the pits.
Leitch, Rutzik, and Daniels, indeed, all in the pits. So after the end of this lap, everything should be all back to normal with our leaderboard. We should have Amos Mofo just rushing the field, a 17.5 second advantage over P2 Selena Boonstra.
Absolutely on fire.
Unstoppable.
Just on fire.
I'm waiting for him to set another fastest lap, to be honest.
I know. Well, I think it's gonna. I mean, I don't know if he's gonna be pushing it too hard, just because he really doesn't need to. Although it's also, Movo's been like I've said, he's been grinding like crazy. So maybe he's still wanting to push himself out there.
Yeah. So as we cross this timing line, we've got Murphy, Watts, Rowdy Burns up into P7.
Ooh, side by side into the chicane.
Side by side, that's Derek Stack attempting a move on Justin McKechnie's, not brave enough on the brakes, wisely backs out. That's a battle for P9 and 10 on track. Luis Vasquez, who at one time was behind Justin, but is now ahead, P8. Congratulations. Sorry we missed it.
Yeah, I think something happened in Sector 1 because, Justin McKechnie falling down a little bit there, into Derek Stack. So I think something happened in Sector 1. They seemed very close coming out of Turn 4.
Right, okay. That makes a little bit of sense. So Derek Stack and G-Bev, P11, good result out of him. So so Sutherland, the leader of the individual championships, has made some gains. P14 though. Sean Leitch ahead. He's got to be looking to make an overtake here, but a tough track to do it on. His teammate as well, Mr. Zipperburn, P17. Driver I'm missing, P27, Jess Osborne.
Has not been the best race for Jess, getting collected in that incident, and a tough going deep into the second to last turn here.
Yeah, and looking at pit stop time, so he did have a longer pit, probably to repair some damage. So yeah, starting in the middle of the muck, and sometimes if you don't qualify well, you get caught up in incidents that aren't your fault.
And that's part of why qualifying is so important. I mean, you're talking, it is hard to overtake in this track. I mean, I feel like we haven't seen that many overtakes this race so far, but also, I mean, it can be a chaotic track when it comes to when there are battles. So, just really important to get that qualifying position, and just wasn't able to put it together. And unfortunately, he was one of the unlucky people who got collected in those incidents.
Yeah, that's okay. That's what we have drop races for.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
Your worst result on the season does get removed from your points total at the end of the season. Only 7 of 8 races counting. So hey, if something happens, you get 1 mulligan. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, this is a good track to use that up on, because it's a tricky one. I mean, it's definitely one of those tracks where qualifying is important. It's hard to pass. You have to be patient. Most of the passes are really just taking advantage of mistakes. So it's definitely a track you have to be patient.
So Vasquez, we see here hunting down Rowdy Burns ahead, about a half a second covering those two drivers. Derek Stack similarly stalking Justin McKechnie's. We've got Sutherland doing the same kind of routine on Sean Leitch. All these drivers just kind of trying to pressure the driver ahead, see if they can force him into a mistake, get a little deep on those brakes, maybe make something happen. Zipperburn as well. This is a tight battle here. So this is P16, 17, 18, and 19. Rutzik, Zipperburn, Aoki, and Jay Queasy up into P19. All separated by about 2 seconds on track. Some tight action here. We'll have to keep an eye on this. All drivers keeping it nice and tidy through that twisty second chicane. Putting the power down nicely. This I kind of think it's a tough, flat-out right-hander because I've got a pretty understeery setup, and if I don't nail my turn-in point, I often go wide through that turn.
Yeah, it's tough to get the power down correctly out of that second chicane, to where you could actually, take it, well, flat out through there. It's very car dependent. Some cars like the Mustang, it's actually really not bad at all. It's a good turn for the Mustang. But there are some cars that are definitely tricky on that exit. Again, with this track, you're setting it up around those curbs, and so you're wanting to have a high ride height on that front, which definitely makes turns like that and turns like these difficult.
So, we just only caught the tail end of that, but when it rains, it pours for Mr. Sean Daniels. I don't know if there was contact in the hairpin or if he just had trouble getting the power down, but going off at the end of that second sector there, or start of the third, and P29 Sean Daniels. It's a new year, new you, second half of the season. Bathurst is coming up next. I know he likes that track, so we're hoping the best for him for the future.
Yeah, absolutely.
I was talking earlier. I was waiting for Movo to set new fastest lap. Past 2 laps, 2 fastest laps in a row. He's dropped it down about 4/10 overall, I think.
128.210 from Amos Movo. He's just on a Sunday cruise, and he is eating this. He's eating the curbs. He's eating the track.
Eating the curbs.
He's been doing that every lap. I don't know what he's doing.
He is in the zone. I'm sure he's just in the zone.
Ooh, Rowdy Burns a little wide through turn 2, looking vulnerable to Luis Vasquez behind, who wants that P7 back. But Justin McKechnie's looking to take advantage of any mistakes from the 2 drivers ahead. Vasquez looks to the inside. Rowdy Burns pinches him off a little bit. Vasquez backs out.
Ooh. Justin looked like he wanted to take that.
He's got a good run from that.
He does.
I don't think it'll be enough to... Maybe.
Vasquez breaking offline. Trouble getting the car slowed down deep into that second part. So he lost time ahead to Rowdy Burns, but maintains the position behind to Justin. Good stuff out of these drivers. That is Derek Stack in P10, waiting for the drivers ahead to make any sort of mistake in that Nay Slayer's Madhouse Racing Ford Mustang. Love to see it. That's a good looking car right there, huh?
Yeah, Madhouse has some pretty good looking liveries for this season. And,
no.
Definitely not an exception.
Drama. Zipper burn.
Oh.
Drive-through penalty for track limits. He'll have to serve that within the next 3 laps, so that P17 has just evaporated into thin air, serving it right away. Brutal stuff. Just one too many speed coupons used.
Yeah, like I said, it's easy to do on this track. Yeah, definitely a bummer. That's definitely consequential for the championship, because that in those positions you want to get any points you could get. Of course, as you go down in the points, it starts to make less a difference per position as it does in the higher points paying positions, but still, I mean, you want to get anything that you can.
So, but of our top 2 team championship teams, the Porsche team and the Mustang team, each having 1 driver having a tough go of it. But again, that's what drop races are for. So with this plus 3 races left to go in the season, still plenty of time to make up any sort of points gap that you might lose having, hey, everybody has an off race.
Yeah, absolutely.
Vasquez still right up behind Rowdy Burns, who is himself right up behind DJ Watts of the American Lexus Mustang team, rocking that classic, clean black and white livery. Little squirrely out of turn 1. DJ Watts struggling for rear traction, it would appear. Vasquez well wide on those curbs, will lose drive and potentially lose a position to Derek Stack into turn 4. Brave on the brakes on the outside. Maintaining the position around the outside. Good stuff, Luis Vasquez. He did, though, lose 1 spot to Justin McKechnie's.
Look at him just attack those curves.
Boing, boing.
I just find it amazing how good the 488 is over those curves. It's not a car I would have expected to just monster curves like that.
I mean, 48 obviously like a rather old car in the game, not very commonly used. Ballast is always super low. We found a track it's actually kind of okay at.
Yeah, well, there are some tracks that
A bit
it's
more
really
than
good
okay,
at.
to be honest.
Yeah, I'm curious for Valencia coming up because I think it's going to be extremely good there. So Yarn Brothers, you know, look out for that Valencia. And from this race, Justin McKechnie, and as he is lining up Rowdy Burns here, I mean, it's really tight between these three cars that take Sector 1 very differently. Aggressive peak from Justin there. He wasn't going to send it, but...
Ooh, had great drive out of turn 1, but not able to make the overlap. No room on the right there. Rowdy Burns just...
Turn 3 here? Nah, too fast.
Burns just putting up the brick wall. That's a wide Porsche to try to get around.
Yeah, and this is going to bring him back into the clutches of Vasquez, who has a fantastic run. Justin Flashmaster flashing ahead.
He's got to have that bound to his gas pedal or something. What?
He has it bound to his, you know, because Justin's a controller driver.
Right.
He has it bound to his left stick, so his steering stick. So
wait,
he just presses
so he's
it
steering
in.
really hard.
Every time
like,
he
you're
puts
going
in
around
his
that corner, like, come on, gotta make it. And you're pressing down on the controller, and just your lights turn on.
Yeah. He doesn't have to move his thumb whatsoever to hit those flashing. So yeah.
Oh man. Oh, so it's left stick press or something. I think I misunderstood that. Like he maybe had it like overlapped with the left stick, right and left. So like every time he input a steering input,
no.
it automatically flat.
That much.
That would be too much. Okay, all right.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Yeah, he's only probably averages, you know, a flash a lap throughout the race, so it's not quite that much.
And Vasquez peeking the inside at turn 1, and it compromises his line. Vasquez, he's got to be frustrated, and he's making a ton of mistakes here. Deep out of the exit of turn 1, loses the position to Derek Stack, and under pressure now from Gordon Beverly III. You hate to see it for Luis Vasquez. Had such a great qualifying, currently sitting down in P10. 13 minutes to go in this race.
This has got to be a tricky track for the Audi. I can't imagine it's an easy one.
Yeah, I mean, even on the best of tracks, that's a difficult car to get the most out of. It's got to be low traction control. It's crazy setups.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, you know, the aliens drive TC0 on this car, and
super realistic game.
yeah, super realistic. But I mean, it definitely does not have great TC.
A little love in the chat for our P6 driver. DJ Watts currently under a ton of pressure from Rowdy Burns behind. 12 minutes left to go in this race.
I think that's Curtis in the chat there. So Curtis, that was definitely an unlucky race there for Curtis. But yeah, DJ Watts holding it together for that team, the Level Lexus team. So yeah, P6, a solid position.
Boy, you can see he is struggling a bit, though. You know, we've seen a couple times his rear end getting a little slidey. You know, missing apexes here and there. Is that... I just saw number 97 on track again. He's off track again. He's back to the garage again.
Oh my gosh. We could pretend like we didn't see it.
So looking ahead, So Sullivan still kind of keeping in touch with Jacob Hall. This is sort of a battle for the final podium position. P3 and 4 on track. Sullivan getting within 1 second here of Hall. 11 minutes left in this race. See if he can make any sort of impression on Hall ahead. Just checking in with our top driver, Selena Boonstra, still P2 with a lead of 4 seconds. You see it on screen. The gap to third place behind. Amos Mofo, the man, just the god of Zolder. 22 seconds, the gap to P2, as we see Tim Ducharme, our next victim of track limits.
Yeah.
Brutal stuff.
Definitely tough.
You know, I tell you what, if I'm Selena right now, and Selena Boonstra, and I'm looking ahead at that 23-second gap to Movo, honestly, I'd count it as a win.
Oh yeah.
Like, you ain't beating that. Like, this is the best you could have done.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Movo is in a different league here. He's definitely, on fire. So, a P2 is the new P1.
Over here.
Yeah.
Luis Vasquez still trying to battle now. Derek Stack ahead. Battle for P9 and P10. Looked a little bit deep through that first chicane, losing a bit of ground. Justin McKechnie's right up behind Rowdy Burns, putting the pressure on him deep through that turn, losing drive. That'll take a bit of pressure off of Burns and leave him vulnerable behind to Derek Stack. Oh man, I feel like DJ Watts is just the conductor of this train right now. We've got P6 through P11, all just right up on top of each other on track.
Yeah, absolutely, but especially with this track being a hard track to pass at, with the Mustang, you just have to keep not making
This is the opportunity, Rowdy Burns.
Yeah, huge opportunity for Rowdy Burns here.
I don't think I don't.
DJ Watts has the inside, brave on the brakes.
Outside, which he is not able to do, which that will give, and he gets a bad run out of T2, which will leave it an opportunity for Justin McKechnie in the inside, not quite using all the track on the outside there, but there's no grip for Rowdy Burns. However, even still, is able to hold that position off of Justin McKechnie there. Wow.
Beautiful stuff. So Derek Stack now attempting the overlap.
Justin McKechnie's
Who's going to be braver on the brakes? Stack backs out. Wow.
Yeah. Justin McKechnie was not looking to give that up at all. He looked like he just braked normally and was expecting Derek to back out there.
I was holding onto my seat there like, oh man, that was tight battle.
Yeah, we saw Justin squeezing the inside a little bit, just the body language saying, no, I am not going to let you have this position.
Yeah.
It will have the effect, though. It took a little bit of pressure off DJ Watts. 8 minutes left in this race. Hanging on to P6. He's got just a pack of vultures behind him trying to pick his bones and take that position. That Mustang looking wide on the exit of all of these turns.
It does, and the Mustang is so good down the straights. You know, DJ just has to keep things clean, not make any mistakes, and you know he'll be able to hold. You know, unfortunately for the Porsches, it's really hard to pass a Mustang. So you basically need a Lexus or something that's stronger in the straights to pass those Mustangs, because which. I mean, I basically just named the only car that's stronger than the straights, without a mistake. So, yeah, that definitely, as long as DJ Watts could, keep this clean, that definitely could be good for him.
Yep, so looking ahead, at one time we had Sullivan putting pressure on Hall for P3. The gap between them has increased to 3 seconds. The gap behind to Nitin Murthy, you see there on screen, only 0.3. Sullivan under a bit of pressure at the end of this race from that Mercedes behind, looking to get a few more points on his overall tally by stealing P4.
Mercedes is definitely a car that might be able to force its way into something a little bit easier than the Porsche. Ooh, a little bit of oversteer from DJ Watts here. I don't think it's going to be enough for Rowdy Burns to do anything.
Looks to the inside, just trying to psych DJ Watts out a little bit, but just unflappable. DJ Watts maintaining his composure in all of these apexes, looking good while doing it. 6 minutes left in this race. Rowdy Burns, he's got to find a way past.
Yeah, he's trying. He's keeping that pressure on him, not making it easy.
Vasquez behind Stack. Nothing doing, but yeah, this whole pack, it still burns. McKechnie's getting good drive out of that first chicane, coming down the hill into the second. Just right up behind, you see Vasquez still behind Stack. These drivers are on top of each other.
They're pushing hard too. I was looking on board of Vasquez through the chicane back there, and both Vasquez and Stack looked like they nearly lost it on the chicane there, both of them. So you know, really pushing. You're so close to this many drivers. All it really takes is like one move somewhere. I mean, we saw it earlier. It almost kicked off, but all it takes is one move somewhere, and like the whole door is open.
Wow.
And as I'm speaking about that,
quite a defense there from DJ Watts, really parking it on that apex, checking up Rowdy Burns, totally leaving him an opportunity to be passed by Justin McKechnie here. Rowdy's gonna have the inside though, which is a lot.
Brave on the brakes goes Justin, wide, losing the position to Rowdy. Thankfully not losing any other positions. I thought he was gonna go off track there. He was so deep on the brakes.
Yeah, it's tricky, and there's no grip out there. Vasquez looking awfully racy there, and
but
losing
a
bit of
bad
traction.
exit.
GB3 is going to get him
Beverly
before the chicane.
Oh man, poor Vasquez.
This is big for GB3 though.
Rowdy Burns off at the exit of the chicane.
no.
Is he going to lose a position here to Derek Stack going into the chicane? Derek
Stack is
really
deep
late.
off track. Speed
That is
coupon
definitely
used.
an off track.
Oh, so Rowdy Burns, one bad exit from the first chicane, losing 2 positions to Justin McKechnie and Derek Stack. P9 for him now. This will have the effect of
deep for GB3.
so
That put my heart in my throat. Oh my goodness.
So DJ
Meanwhile,
Watts
DJ
now,
Watts is just like, yep,
he's got a
all you
little
guys want.
bit of breathing room now. A second and a half to Justin McKechnie behind. Doing a little Tokyo drift out of that last corner. Luis Vasquez still in the hunt right behind G3. Rowdy Burns now. Not intentionally going for a move on Derek Stack. Almost had to send it to avoid contact there. Well done to him to avoid an incident. Looking hungry. So, oh no, we got a driver off. That's number 240. It's Christian Holmes at the second chicane. Wonder what happened there. Coming into the braking zone. Through the right, deep into the... Oh, yeah.
I've noticed that. That can happen if you don't take enough of the curb. I mean, it's...
Oh no,
GB3
GB3 off in the chicane.
Uh-oh.
Oh, that's a really bad spot.
Yeah, facing the wrong way. Oh.
I have to see what happened there.
I think he just took too much curb.
Nobody too close. Well over the inside and too much on the
curb.
right. Ooh,
Into
good job.
orbit he went.
Good job, Vasquez, avoiding contact there.
Yeah.
So
That
DJ
hurts for
Watts.
GB3.
Okay, so Movo has crossed the line. He's on the back straight now. 1 minute and 50 seconds left in this race.
So there'll be one more lap.
This +1 is what I'm thinking, yeah.
Yep.
This plus one more opportunity for Nitin Murthy, still right up behind Sully, putting the pressure on. Jack Sullivan doing well to fend off the attack from this Champion Motorsports Mercedes. just has to hold on a little bit longer. Speaking of holding on, DJ Watt still P6. You love to see it. Now Justin McKechnie is the one to put the pressure on. This Ferrari 488 looking racy, just barely within slipstream range, so holding on to that Mustang ahead. Let's get a first-person look as he just monsters over those curbs, looking nice and tight and gaining about a 10th on the exit of that turn. So DJ Watt's not out of trouble yet. Nitin Murthy losing a bit of time to Sully ahead. A little bit of breathing room there. 1 lap left to go. We've got Queasy putting a little bit of pressure on Rutzik. This is a battle for P15 and 16 on track. Luis Vasquez, he's still in it. Still P10 behind Burns and Stack.
Stack might be making him, is defending from Burns here, yeah. Very close. So close. It's just not quite there. Hard track to overtake on. Vasquez caught up.
Yeah, he got a decent run out of there. He's not going to be able to do anything with it. You know, all things considered for Vasquez, you know, he's been through a lot this race, and you know, definitely could be a little bit worse. But yeah, I mean, you can just see he's definitely struggling with that Audi. Oh, he's drifting every corner here.
He's been pushing those tires hard, suffering for traction.
I wonder if any of these drivers have slow punctures from the
all the curbs. Yeah, that's a good question. So coming into the final left-right hand turns, this is Mr. Amos Movo. From start to finish, a dominant performance, taking the checkered flag P1. Excellent result out of him. Selena Boonstra coming through that same final left and right hand turn. A very strong, very comfortable P2. Had a little bit of action early, but then once everybody else fell to the wayside, it was Selena's race for the taking. Excellent job to her. Jacob Hall hanging on to P3. Jack Sullivan maintains P4, fending off Nitin Murthy. DJ Watts, it felt like he was under pressure for 30 minutes straight, but at the end of it all, DJ Watts P6, a beautiful result out of him. Justin McKechnie, Derek Stack, Rowdy Burns, Luis Vasquez, Sean Leitch.
Ooh, might want to look at Riggs and Sweeney.
Riggs and Sweeney, please hold. A little bit of
a
battle.
Sweeney went a little bit deep into the final corner. It looked like he might close a bit faster than that, but I suppose the McLaren's got a little bit too much acceleration there for it. Good traction out of that hairpin.
Good fight. So our top Lamborghini finisher, Mr. Martin Riggs. Well done to him. It was a rough day for the Lambos, but yeah, it's a tough track. So. Whew. So well done to all of our drivers. We'll have to keep an eye on our race debrief chats. I would love to get...
We do have Movo in there.
We have Movo already. First on track and already in the debrief. We got to talk to this man.
Yeah, let's pull him in. Movo, you're in the commentator booth. How are you feeling about that? I mean, that was dominant race. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling pretty good. I'm relieved I finally found a clean race.
That was about as clean as it could be. I mean, you didn't really have to. I mean, it's mostly hot lapping. I'm assuming for you.
Yeah, it was pretty much stay between the lines and don't accumulate too many drive-throughs or corner cuts. I managed 2, I think. I think I found 2 of them, but I had a couple close calls overshooting some corners, like just kind of let off and don't die, and you're fine. But yeah, I guess it was a matter of surviving lap 1, and turn 1 is like, okay, just get ahead of Vasquez or whatever. I'm not sure what his name is. But it was like, okay, just stay clean and don't die, and you should be okay.
Yeah, and it looks like able to do that. I mean, and also PB in quali,
Dude,
right?
yeah, right. I was like, holy cow.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That was quite convenient too.
Such an insane lap. After you said it, I went ahead and looked at the D1 stream. If you compare with the time you set right there to what they were setting in D1, you would have been just outside the top 10.
Oh wow.
At least at that time. D1 might have improved a little bit, might have gone down a little bit further, but genuinely insane lap time.
That was, yeah, thank you. Yeah, I mean, it was happy to put it together. I was definitely on that lap. I was thinking I was sideways through the chicane. I was like, oh, it was valid. Holy cow! Now I'm like +5 on the delta. Holy cow! So, or plus whatever it was, but it was shocking. And
I think it was like +7. I want to say it was like +7 or.
Oh wow, yeah.
By the end of the lap, you
-7
were.
or 8, yeah.
Yeah, by the end of the lap, it was 7 or 8 tenths that you were improving. We were all looking at it.
yeah. That was an impressive lap.
No pressure,
yeah. Impressive race too. I mean, yeah. So huge congrats. Any shout outs you want to give?
Oh, shout out to Dan for last night. He kind of good coaching session, of course. Anton for always supporting, and everybody else, and OBDA, of course, for the conglomerate. And the other D3 members for pushing me, because I try my best to be as fast as possible. Well, at least the competitors, but yeah, pretty good race. Pretty happy about it. Happy about going into the break. Also, should be nice.
Yeah, that's a strong way to enter the 1 week break. So.
And I should be safe from promotion, right?
yeah, for promotion. Sandbag achieved? No.
No. It was I just couldn't find a clean race ever. So like.
Oh yeah. Well, and also you've been putting in that work too. So yeah, it's awesome to see that work come bring something good. And yeah, that was a fantastic race win. So yeah,
Thank
definitely
you.
enjoy that one.
Got a huge climb to. I'm not sure for standings wise. It was that's probably a huge gap by now, but it's gonna be a journey back up, hopefully.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, well, this second half of the season could be strong though.
Yeah, you got 168 points right now compared to the leader, who has 311. That's of course not including the race that just happened. So
yeah,
well, you won't be closing it up in one race, but I don't know that Sutherland had the best race today.
Yeah, I don't think so either. It's qualifying. I don't think he put in a lap.
Like you'll be closing up quite a bit. Of course, another thing to note, Selena Boonstra might have actually taken the drivers. Might be leading the championship now.
Yeah, she had a good race.
Yeah, P2 in the race, and she was P2 in the standings. Pretty decent chance she overtook Sutherland. But enough about her for now.
Yeah, fair enough.
This is your time. You've won.
It's good to discuss. Cool then. Yeah. Thank you for commentating. Then.
All right. Congratulations.
Yeah.
Thank you guys.
Awesome. Well, yeah, dominant performance from Emma Smovo there. I mean, that was definitely
Max Verstappen in 2023 levels of dominance.
It really was, and like you said, he just needed that clean race, and definitely was able to get it. Some others not having the luxury of that, but the quali helps. Getting a good quali lap here is very tricky, but very important.
Yeah, I mean, you were talking about not clean races. I mean, Jess Osborne, not really the best race from his perspective. Got collected early on. He was P3 in the championship. Unfortunately, that's almost certain to fall down now.
Yeah, absolutely.
Really unfortunate. Of course, then again, Zipperburn, the person behind him, also didn't really have the best race today, if I recall correctly. So, you never know.
Yeah, this is
absolutely
definitely one to forget for a lot of our top drivers who, like you said, Mac, have a week off to kind of rest and relax. Let's get the schedule up on the screen. So 1 week off, and then the week of the 5th, so it will be the 6th of February for Mount Panorama. We're going from one deadly track to another. What are we thinking for this D3 field, Mount Panorama Bathurst?
the mountain has been known to be deadly, and yeah, it's going to be a tricky race for sure. I mean, I absolutely love that track. So I personally am very excited for it. I think it's a super fun track, a super cool track. But yeah, looking forward, honestly, we have a lot of deadly tracks coming up, you know, for the final 3.
Oh,
I mean, Valencia's not too bad. There can be some dramas. It is a night race too, which can bring some dramas. But yeah, Mount Panorama, then Alton Park, both of those tracks are not known for being easy.
Yeah, you know, maybe this is D6 in me, talking in me right here, but you were talking earlier about how, oh, we have the drop races, it'll be fine. Personally, I would want to save my drop race for the Mount Panorama, because there's a tendency on lap 1 for there to be incidents down the mountain, and there's not exactly a way to avoid them, because there's a whole bunch of blind crests over there, blind corners, and walls on either side. There's nowhere to go. There's a very real chance that there could be a number of massive incidents going down the mountain, and I'd like to keep my drop race for that if I can.
Yeah, there's definitely a relatively high possibility of some carnage. But I mean, hopefully not. I mean, it's a fantastic track. I absolutely love that track. Like I said, it's a classic. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
First couple laps today were really clean, I think, for D3. There were, of course, a few very notable incidents that happened, but it felt like overall not horrible. Not like what we saw back at Misano at the end of lap 1.
Yeah, absolutely. That was a very different end of lap 1. The stewards are going to have a much easier time going over that race than they have in the past.
So, as we send it off, of course, thank you once again to everybody who joined us in the chat this evening. We will see you in 2 weeks' time. Mount